Stay up here long enough and you'll be just like us. What?
Anthony, as a big sneakerhead, this comes full circle for me. I used to write for a sneaker website called loudsoul.com. So this is really full circle. Now, Anthony, you're voicing Ty, a box fresh, high performance sneaker prized as the gold standard. Can you talk about stepping into those shoes of a character who's been celebrated on a pedestal, only to realize that there's so much more to life than being admired from afar?
Well, I think that's the best thing about playing Ty, that vanity, that acknowledgement of how beautiful and pristine he is. And, you know, the realizing that it's not so much about him being this glamorous shoe, but it's about the wealth of love that he has from the shoes around him. I think this movie has a lot of heart. It has a great story. Chloe did such a great job with Maxine and making her kind of like the bossy, you know, bullying, but loving and compassionate sister to Ty. And, you know, when creating a character like that, you really just have to give yourself the freedom to go as far down that road, you know, of vain insecurity as you can.
Absolutely. I love the energy of this movie as well, because Sneakers throws us into the wild world where Sneaks throws us into the wild world where sneakers have their own lives full of vibrant street culture and hip hop beats. How did that energy of New York and the richness of sneaker culture shape your approach to voicing Ty on his journey?
Well, you know, it's funny because New York is the dirtiest city, and the last thing you want to do with a fresh pair of kicks is walk through dirty New York. But the first thing you do is walk through dirty New York. So it's, I think, you know, no matter what you shoot in New York, be it a movie, a TV show, or an animated feature, New York is always a character in that movie just as important as the characters that are on the screen. So, you know, adding to that, just with the history and the richness of it, you know, having Babito, you know, who's a sneaker New York legend, you know, bringing in Mustard and Roddy Ricch and all these people. You know, I think Chris and Rob did a great job of keeping the culture of it authentic.
Absolutely. Now, in the film, Ty's evolution isn't just physical, it's deeply emotional too, as he comes to understand what it means to be truly loved. Can you talk about exploring the emotional transformation from collectible, admired in isolation to a character with heart and soul?
Well, you know, we all at some point in our lives realize what's important. You know, we go through that transition, through that portal of being self-absorbed to being aware and conscious of the world around us. And I think that's what Ty goes through. When you look at him, he loves the glitz and the glam. He loves the idea of being fawned over and placated to. But then he realizes how much love and how much value he gets from those around him as opposed to what he looks like or what he has. And, you know, because of that message, I think it's just a very thoughtful and heartfelt movie.
Absolutely. Now, Ty's story is about learning to embrace life outside of the safe, polished existence, risking pain to experience genuine joy. How did you relate to that journey on a personal level, and what does it remind you about taking risk in your own life?
Well, for me, failure is a necessary evil. It's always been that for me. I've always pushed the limits to the opportunity of failure, because if you succeed, it's a completely different conversation. You know, we saw that yesterday with Rory McIlroy at the Masters. That 7-iron around the tree changed the scope of his career from the biggest flop of all time to the greatest ending in the Masters history, just from that one swing. So I think when you look at this movie, when you look at Ty, it's the exact same thing. Sometimes you got to put yourself out there on the limb and just see how far can you go, how long can you jump, you know, how much are you willing to fail, so that if you succeed, it's a completely different conversation. And I think, you know, we always see that, and we always aspire to that, you know, and we always, you know, we want to be that person that's given that opportunity to succeed.
Absolutely. Now, Sneaks is a love letter to sneaker culture and a blend of art, music, sports, and fashion. How do you think Ty's journey reflects the idea that sometimes stepping out of your comfort zone is the only way to truly grow?
Well, I think Ty learns a lot about himself as a sneaker over the course of this movie. And in life, the people that you meet from day to day are the people who you really learn about yourself from and who affect you and who gives you that opportunity to grow as a human being. And I think when you look at Ty, it's the exact same thing. Maxine is much more grounded. She's much more aware of the world around her, but he is so conceited and so self-absorbed. He just loves the idea of being bedazzled and being fawned over, But by the end of the movie, that heart kicks in, and when you go on that journey with him and you realize, wow, this guy really is cared about, and he really cares about the people around him. So it takes that journey for him, not only us to learn that about him, but for him to learn that about himself.
Absolutely. Look, this is the year of Anthony Mackie because you were on a fantastic show earlier this year called The Studio, and you got to share the screen with Ron Howard, and that was so much fun. Can you talk to me about working with Ron and what surprised you about his comedy chops?
It's so funny because Ron is quite possibly the nicest human being on earth. So it's funny when he did the thing, and I hope it's not a spoiler. He does the thing where he kind of knocks Seth Rogen over the tray table. Like literally, my reaction was the real reaction because Ron's so nice. When he did it, everybody in the room went, "Oh shit!" Right? But it was a great experience, man. Seth and Evan really have just the Midas touch when it comes to producing and curating content that people want to see. And, I think The Studio, as outlandish as it is, it rings true to so many people who've been in the business.
Yeah, I started as a PA and I loved that show. It's so great. Now, look, tomorrow marks the digital release of Captain America, Brave New World. I can't wait to get it myself. The post-credit scene for Brave New World, the leader, Samuel Stearns, gives Sam a heads up of what's coming in Avengers Doomsday. Talk to me, how does Sam prepare for what's to come, and which X-Man are you most excited to share the screen with?
I am a big Cyclops fan.
Me too. That's my favorite X-Man.
I have a Cyclops action figure on my keychain that I've had since high school, right? I've always, because when I was in high school, the X-Men cartoon was really big. This was before the movies. So I've always been a huge Cyclone fan. And I'm really, really excited for hopefully, knock on wood, for them to be a part of it and come into it, to hang out with Xavier and, Beast and all those guys. It would be, but my favorite is Nightcrawler. Like, if I can hang out with one character, me and Nightcrawler in the French Quarter during Mardi Gras for 2 weeks, that's what I do.
Well, hopefully we get that scene in Doomsday. I'm excited for that film, man. But thank you. Congratulations on such a successful year. And thank you for your time, sir. It's always appreciated.
Thank you, my man. Have a good one.
You too. Take care, sir. Hey, Keith, I absolutely love this film. I'm a big sneakerhead myself, believe it or not. I started doing journalism through a sneaker website called Loud Soul way back in the day. So this is a full circle for me. Now you're voicing OG, the king of the blacktop court, and an original Chuck Taylor Converse. How did you tap into that rich blend of wisdom and street humor to bring OG to life?
I was there, son. So that wasn't a hard negotiation. I remember. Converse was my first pair of sneakers. Converse and Spaldings. We called them Spaldings. That was years before Nike. But yeah, it was that was great fun to play because I didn't have to act. I didn't have to, make stuff up. You know what I mean? It was like,
yeah, you were there. You lived it.
I lived it. Exactly.
Absolutely. Now, with the resume that spans with films like Armageddon, Platoon, and Nope, you played some iconic roles. What inspired you to lend your voice to a character who's both revered as a mentor and a bit of a jokester in the sneaker world?
Somebody asked me, did I want a job? You know what I mean? Somebody offered me a job.
Best answer.
So that was, I had worked with Rob on The Princess and the Frog. Yes. So I was very happy to be invited to the party.
I love that. I love Rob. Edwards is one of my favorites. Now, OG is a pillar of the sneaker community, always ready to dispense advice and command respect from the court, on the court. How did you draw from your own experience to shape OG's role, both as a guide and a source of comic relief?
Timing is everything, and I think in some instances, in one in particular, what winds up being wisdom is just a matter of good timing. When he asks me, when I have a response when it says, "Oh, we don't talk, we converse."
My favorite line in the movie, by the way. So good. I love that.
Didn't have to work too hard for that one.
Right? Now, Sneaks not only celebrates sneaker culture, but also captures the energy of New York City with its vibrant visuals and hip hop beats. What was it like immersing yourself in that environment as you created OG's unique voice?
Well, a lot of those things happened in post. When I got to see the movie and I got to hear the music and I got to see everything all together, I was thrilled by that aspect that you mentioned. I especially loved the music. The music was tight.
Yeah, I love the music in this film. Yeah. Absolutely. It brought a whole new vibe to an animated film that we haven't seen since like the Spider-Verse. Now, in a movie where sneakers are literally characters, OG stands out as someone who's been around long enough to see it all. What timeless advice do you hope he imparts to audiences about embracing life's ups and downs?
Really acceptance and a sense of community. The way we deal with conflict around here is we come together, we talk it out, we work it out. You don't have to fight. Leave that for somebody else. The rats, as 'twere. Let them do the fighting. We do the defending.
Absolutely. Keith, I got to ask you, this is a sneakerhead movie. And you've been around, you used to wear the OG Chucks. Do you have a particular pair of sneakers that you hold near and dear to your heart?
Now I have an old pair of Nike Airs that I don't wear often, but when I want my feet to be really comfortable, pull them out.
Yeah, the rock and stock. I like it, Keith. I like it. Now, listen, I'm a big fan of yours, and I love what you've done with Husk and the Has-Been Hotel. What can we expect from that character in season 2?
A new great song.
Yes. Those songs are killer. I love the songs. They're so fun. Look, Joe McHale recently revealed to Us Weekly that the Community movie is finally happening, and its hopefully shooting will take place in the fall. What would you like to see from Elroy in the film?
A job.
I think that's the theme of this interview. Yeah, bring back Elroy, baby. We got to see him back, right?
All right. Hey.
Look, there's another film that you were a part of, which I actually think has a lot of impact, even watching it now, and it's They Live. And I wanted to ask you about They Live because it's one of my favorite movies of all time. Do you think that movie should be revisited and rebooted for a new generation?
No, just rescreen it.
Yes, absolutely. Can you share any fun memories from that film?
Again, I had a wonderful co-starring part with a great dude. Roddy Piper was a really wonderful guy, and we shared some really great memories and many great meals. I've never, to this day, I've never seen anybody else eat 50 pieces of sashimi at one sitting.
That's incredible. I'm a huge wrestling fan myself, and Roddy Piper was my guy. So that's so much fun. That's an incredible story. Look, and finally, for all the sneakerheads and film fans out there, what do you want people to feel or take away when they hear OG's voice echoing through the streets of Sneaks?
That there's always somebody looking out for you.
I love it, Keith. I love it. Thank you so much for your time, sir. You're an absolute legend. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Thank you, man.
Thank you. Take care. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Martin, I'm a huge fan of you. I'm a huge fan of this movie. I'm a sneakerhead. I started off my career working for a website called Loud Souls, so I'm familiar with that world. But JB is one cool streetwise sneaker who has seen it all in the mean streets of New York. Can you talk about tapping into that gritty, independent spirit when giving voice to JB?
Well, he knows the streets. He's been out there, so, but he's a hustler. So he's, he's trying to hustle Ty at first, for his jewels and everything else, his bling bling. And, but he has a change of heart when he sees that Ty is really a good guy and is really trying to get back with his sister, JB, being a street smart sneaker, is trying to take him around and just get what he can, until he sees that he's a different kind of guy.
Absolutely. You mentioned this yourself. JB's lived life conning and hustling on his own for years. When JB finally teams up with Ty, he gets a taste of the true friendship and belonging. What was it like bringing that emotional turnaround to life?
Oh, that was nice. That was nice because, for once, JB didn't have to have this hard exterior. He could let some soft emotions out, for Ty, and let him know that, he really do got a little love for him.
Absolutely. Now, Sneak celebrates sneaker culture in a way that's both hilarious and heartfelt. What can you talk about with how you infused JB with that authentic New York swagger, with giving him a nod to the soulful side of sneaker life?
Cause that has a lot to do with rap, rap music, rapping and sneakers go together like peanut butter and jelly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, in JB's journey, we see him evolve from a lone hustler to someone who rediscovers the value of a real connection. Did any of your personal experiences shape how you portrayed that transformative moment?
Not really. If it did, I would say just living life and knowing, you want to grow to be a better person and not a negative person.
Now, in JB's, in the film's energy is off the charts, and it blends hip hop beats with vibrant visuals. How did that street energy? Can you talk about that raw street energy and how that dynamic and the environment influenced your voice work for JB?
Just being tough and raw, and trying to stay out of harm's way and knowing the streets, knowing what you can get away with and what you can't, and everything else, knowing what you're talking about.
Absolutely. Now, for all the sneakerheads and comedy lovers out there, what do you hope JB's story teaches about finding your pair and embracing unexpected twists that life throws your way?
Well, don't worry about what other people are doing or what other people have. Worry about yourself and what you need to have, and learn to get it the right way.
Absolutely. Now, when I was a kid, man, I was a big fan of the show Martin, and everyone is anticipating the return of Martin Payne. Any updates on young Martin?
No.
No?
Will never happen.
All right. Well, look, man, I'm a huge fan of you. This film is absolutely incredible. Thank you so much for your time, Martin. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Joe.
Leaks don't talk round here. We converse.